Welcome back to the Recruitment podcast for Lancashire Teaching Hospitals NHS Foundation Trust. Today I am joined by two of my co-workers who I will introduce in a moment, and this week we are discussing volunteers. So going to be quite a swift episode, talking everything volunteers, volunteer opportunities, volunteer surveys, but you'll see as we get into the episode, and I will hand over to our new co-host.
That's me.
You'd like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Amy. I am recently very new to the podcast. This is my first time. Looking forward to future episodes. I'm team leader in the recruitment team at Lancashire Teaching Hospitals, and I'm a big step in community engagement, which volunteers is a huge part of.
Indeed.
This is our guest today.
Hello.
Stephanie, like introduce yourself.
Stephanie Johnson, Head of Recruitment and Head of Volunteers at Lancashire Teaching Hospitals. And I have to say, I'm very disappointed you didn't open it by saying my favourite two colleagues. You just described us as your colleagues.
Can you imagine going back to the office, the amount of gripe I would get? I've got to keep, it's equality, isn't it? Got to keep everyone down. Yeah, no, that's it. No, you're up there. It's not league table, is it?
Well, if it was, I'd like to be first.
And I'll take second.
Take second, Bagsy it.
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me. Really looking forward to this.
No, we've been meaning to have you on for a while, and it's just for one reason or another, it's not quite happened, but here you are.
Yes.
And volunteers, which is something you know a lot about because you're heavily involved in it.
Heavily involved in it, yes. I'm not the expert because we've got obviously Sarah, our volunteer manager, but definitely know a lot about it and help work with Sarah to shape how it goes for our organisation. So
let's just discuss Sarah quickly for a minute, because listeners, some staff members who listen to this will be aware of Sarah, I'm sure, but other people, patients and people outside the organisation might not be aware of Sarah Allen and her role. So what does Sarah do for the Trust? Yeah,
so Sarah's our volunteer manager. So she started in January last year, 2024, and she stepped into some fairly substantial shoes because we'd had Sylvia, who many staff know, Sylvia Turner, our volunteer manager for 30 odd years. Yeah. She retired. She didn't want to retire, but she did decide to retire. She's very happy, by the way. I do stay in touch. So Sarah came along into that role. And she's been absolutely fabulous. She's completely come in. She's hit the ground running. She's turned systems that maybe were a little bit more traditional and paper based into digital systems and stuff. So it just allows us to get information out quicker and analyse things differently. So she's also come in and created new roles. She brought loads of experience from working in the voluntary sector before. Yeah. So she's really helped take what was already a good service and really help move it forwards. Yeah, really happy with how it's going.
Yeah, it's really developed, hasn't it, since she's come in?
Yeah, definitely. She came in with loads of ideas. A bit like me, loads of ideas sometimes and unable to switch them off because you've got to stop somewhere. But yeah, we've got lots of good things coming as well in the next 12 months. Yeah. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, indeed. We've obviously, like you said, we've had more new roles created in volunteering opportunities.
Yes.
We've had the baby cuddler role.
Oh, don't. The baby cuddler role. Honestly, Sarah rang me one day. She said, we've now got 400 applications for the baby cuddler role. Should we stop it? Because it was meant to be out to advert for 2 weeks. But it's all probably middle-aged people like me who want to cuddle babies, and what an amazing role it is. And those, I think we recruited 10 or 15 in total, supporting neonatal by holding babies as part of their helping them get well and recover really, and being there to give parents a break. Absolutely brilliant opportunity. It's been really good, really, really good.
And that role is that garnered interest from the national press as well, so it raised the profile of the hospital.
Definitely, we had a lot of, and I think as well there was some concern around whether there was any risks to it, and this is not a role where people are getting babies out of incubators and such. They're literally sitting in a room, and a nurse or a qualified person or a parent will hand the baby, and they sit and hold that baby and love them. And we do have babies in our neonatal intensive care that unfortunately maybe don't have parents or don't have someone coming to visit them, so they really play a massive role. It's actually modelled on Alder Hay, obviously much more famous for doing that stuff, but it's modelled on them. We chatted with them before we introduced the role, so definitely one of our highlights of last year was recruiting to that role.
So for context, the in terms of numbers of volunteers, I think at last we had over 320 volunteers on the books.
Yes.
It's somewhere between 320 and 350. It's very hard to get an exact number.
Yeah, it's very fluid.
It's very fluid. But you get, and there's the point to be made on that is, people do move and they come on to volunteer and they change volunteer roles.
Yeah.
And then you'll have, younger people maybe volunteering as part of schemes and, entrance to employment and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
So it is fluid, it is dynamic, it does, so it is hard to pin down the exact number. But I suppose just for context, it's Volunteer Week coming up the 2nd of June.
Yes.
And that's why we're doing this episode all about volunteering.
Yes.
So would you like to say anything on that, Amy, on Volunteers Week? Or
I just think it's brilliant to have a week dedicated to not only our volunteers, but volunteers all over the country.
Yeah.
We have International Nurses Day, we've got quite a lot of celebrations for doctors and things like that. Why wouldn't we celebrate our volunteers who are willingly giving up their time to help not only us, but patients? It's all about patient care at the end of the day, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And putting them first.
It is. It's interesting you mentioned about the unpaid. I mean, I just think the majority of us come to work, we get paid, we do the role we do, we go home, but volunteers don't get paid. They're doing this literally because either they've worked for us and they're just not ready to let go yet, so they've decided to volunteer, or it could be because they've had treatment themselves or one of their families had treatment in our hospitals and they want to give back. Or even it could be, and I think you mentioned it, we've had young people coming in who want to, like doctors who are learning, doing medical training, come in to learn a bit about bedside manner and stuff and come in and interact as volunteers. And young people who want to enhance their employability skills can come in. So it's a real mix of people, but we think between 320 and 330 at any one time, but obviously those numbers change as people leave and we get new members. But all of them are vetted and checked. They go through all the medicals, references, employment checks. So they're checked as if they're staff, but they give up the time for nothing. About 4,000 hours our volunteers have undertaken this year so far. That's unpaid, amazing, just amazing people.
And every year we're giving out awards for long service volunteers as well.
Yeah,
so they're not just here for 5 minutes, they're here for years.
Sometimes if you're in, you're in.
That's it, you're in, you're never leaving. Oh my goodness, we've got one volunteer who's in their 90s and they've done 50 years.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
And they absolutely love it, and actually it's become a massive part of their life. And I think without it, they'd really miss it. So yeah, we've got volunteers from 16 up to in the 90s and everything in between.
Wow.
At the moment, obviously part of this episode is going out in Volunteers Week and it'll be accompanied by some videos that I've been filming throughout May, and I've still got some filming dates in the diary now, so I'm talking to myself in the future now. It's time travelling.
Make sure you don't forget them.
But I've met several volunteers and and their enthusiasm and their joy, talking to them about what they get out back from it. And I think that's easily forgotten as well. It's very easy to see, I don't want to cheapen it and say, oh, it's transactional, but they get a lot out of what they put in as well. Yeah. They really do. And you've both seen the Rosemere video of the volunteers.
Oh, I love that video.
Sinclair and John.
Yeah.
Which we'll put a link on now if you're listening to this episode. We'll make sure that it's linked so you can see it. But they are total characters and dedicated and love what they do.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was really nice to see. That was, for me, filming it, I made a very quick decision. I'm going to have to do this a little bit differently and just let them go.
It was so nice to see the familiarity between them all, though. So they'd kind of interject each other, and then it would kind of go from one person to another. So it was so telling of how comfortable they are with each other and how much they enjoy doing it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I loved the relationship between them when they were like laughing about whether she's his mum or something, and they were joking about that. I just like that, and I thought people coming into Rosemere is our cancer centre, and people are coming in and sometimes it's really harrowing. They're really struggling, or their family members. So to have a team of volunteers there, not just making a cuppa, but having a bit of a chin wag and having that familiarity with each other will definitely benefit patients and staff.
It's normal. It's real people.
Yeah.
That's very comforting. I think patients and staff like that, and it's relatable. And just going back to something you said last week, Steph, before we recorded this episode, there was one line you said that really struck you, which was about people coming and you don't know what situation they're in. what they're coming with.
No.
Rosemary.
That's it, because you could be coming in for treatment, you could be coming in to be told results that you've been waiting for, you could be coming in because you're supporting a family member or a friend, and so everybody receiving a really warm welcome from our volunteers is beautiful. And our volunteers get a lot out of doing that, I think. And some of those volunteers are people who themselves have been treated through Rosemere. So I just find it mind-blowing. What amazing selfless people they are, and all our volunteers, every single one of them. And that's why I think having Volunteers Week, although we try and celebrate them all the time and thank them all the time, having a week dedicated where we've got a series of activities. We've got the chief exec inviting some for a brew, and that's going to be lovely. We're going out, we're doing thank you awards and long service awards, and just capturing a sense of what our volunteers do throughout that week is really wonderful. And there's a few of us actually volunteering ourselves. So I am, Neil, our Chief People Officer, and there's a couple of others. We're actually donning one of the yellow uniforms and volunteering ourselves that week to do some, give something back, and also get a bit of a sense of what they do. Because we've got that many different roles.
You've just reminded me of 2 points there, actually. So I'll segue back round.
That sounds a complicated manoeuvre.
I'll manoeuvre. I'll get it.
I'd like to see that.
I'll get it in. You've said about volunteering and giving something back and being engaged with those volunteers in that way. You do an annual Christmas dinner.
We do. It's the highlight of the year. So we do 2. We do one at Chorley and we do one at Preston. And what we do is we invite as many volunteers as want to attend. We usually get about 100 at Preston and 50 at Chorley. And we serve them a full 3-course Christmas meal, and we have fun and games and bingo and speeches. But we actually serve them, and our executive team, so our directors and such, serve them their meals. We don white gloves, and
you've been involved. You've done it.
When I looked after volunteer recruitment, you invited me to one at Preston. And it was when Karen was the chief exec at the time, and we all put on white gloves, proper serving gloves, and we went around serving them, and everyone's thank you so much. This is really nice. And the atmosphere was so just warm and happy. It was brilliant. Lovely. You need to take yourself to one.
Well, no, I will. It's on the list.
Well, the dates are in the diary for this year, so
I will not miss it.
We'll be doing that in December.
Definitely. And now this is the segue bit to something you said a moment ago. It was about volunteers meeting patients, and it's something that we've discussed previously. And I think it's actually included in the volunteer advert. We've got the volunteer role, which is hospital guides and the information desk help. They stand at the front desk of the hospital.
They do, yeah.
And often that's the first person someone might see when they come through that hospital door and not know where they're going. Yeah,
it's a really purposeful role. That's again modelled on other trusts. So it's managed by our patient experience team. They look after our information guide volunteers. So we've got a team of volunteers who work on a rota, and they're there. So if somebody comes in, they're not exactly sure where to go. So they can help navigate. They can walk people down to their appointment. They can just make sure, because Preston's massive, isn't it? I mean, Chorley's big enough, but Preston's massive. And imagine you've tried to park, which let's not go on, that's a whole nother podcast. You've tried to park, you finally found a space, you're running for your appointment and you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
So again, those information guides are a really good role to try to direct and navigate people who are maybe feeling, again, you don't come into hospital unless there's a specific reason. So quite often we've got people who are coming in, worried or concerned or just wanting to get where they need to be. We're actually going to be going out to recruit for some more information guides soon, I think, because we've had some brilliant people. But again, the nature of the role means people come in, getting some experience, they're going on. So constantly recruiting more. So be looking out for that role coming out soon.
This is it. And I know because of the timelines, internally we've mentioned volunteer roles, where they're up to, and go ready for advertising, and trying to tie it all up into one neat package, which gets complicated for a variety of reasons we don't need to discuss here. But so hopefully if you're listening to this, there might be some volunteer roles available now. But if not, we will be using this as a resource for future volunteer recruitment. So, and if you do have any questions about volunteering, and you listen to this, if you think, that's a little bit of me, please get in touch. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you can get in touch in lots of different ways. You can email us, volunteerservice@lthtr.nhs.uk, or actually we've got presence on the website, the Trust website. Just go on Google volunteering at Lancashire Teaching, and hopefully it'll all come up on there. And it'll also share, I think there's a list of all the different roles we've got, but that continually changes. Our hospital changes all the time, so our volunteer roles change all the time. But what's quite exciting is during Volunteers Week, or just the week after actually, we're going to be doing a big information day about volunteering. So people who are interested, who want to find out a bit more about what the commitment is, what's expected, and what's in it for them as well. That's going to be the week after Volunteers Week, so second week of June we'll be doing that. And then we're going to do a big new recruitment day. So we've lots coming up. So again, it'll all be on our social media and our website.
And going back to the different roles, because like you said, baby coupling didn't exist in the trust.
No, totally new.
So that's totally new. And something that I didn't realise until I came into the trust working was that hospital radio is volunteers.
My absolute favourite. I was hoping you were going to mention hospital radio.
I've got it, it's in the notebook.
Oh my goodness me, I absolutely love it. So we run 2 radio stations. We run Chorley Radio and Preston. I'm not as involved at Chorley because they've got Alan is a brilliant radio station manager and it works fantastic. But Chorley Radio, they've got an app. They've got all sorts. If you want to listen to Chorley Radio, it's fabulous. Preston Radio, we don't have a manager, so I'm kind of standing station manager, which is hilarious given I've never done anything like this before. And it's great. We have a whale of a time. We've got, I think, 6 or 7 fabulous presenters, some of them quite new, some of them have been there 20, 30 years. We also broadcast, it's obviously to all our patients, it's a radio station for our patients and staff. We do dedications and requests and all kinds of things. But we also broadcast from Preston North End's home games, which is incredible. So we've got Jack and Charles who organise that. And we also broadcast from the races as well, where we can.
Get some horse racing, don't
Horse racing, yeah, so we do that as well. It's just brilliant. And again, it's there for our patients and our staff. And it's very, very much Preston and Chorley based. Lots of Preston and Chorley references. And we are developing the station again. We're wanting to increase more shows, get more presenters in, and also get people. We called them ward walkers, but it sounds a little bit grim. It sounds
like something from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, like the White Walkers. Oh. So we've changed it to I can't remember what we changed it to, but something like radio liaison team or something. Okay. And it's basically people who are interested in volunteering, going onto our wards, talking to patients, taking their requests, and texting them back to the studio so we can play songs for them.
That's amazing.
So it's really great. So we're looking at getting some more of those kind of people this year as well.
Yeah. Haven't we heard tell that someone in this room is going to be a presenter on our hospital radio?
Well, you might have heard. Yeah, I would absolutely love to do it, and I think I've been putting it off for a while because there's a million and one other things to do. But actually, yeah. So I'm hoping to start having be a radio volunteer myself and have a show.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be music I love. It'd be 90s old school dance and 80s. That's my era. Thursday nights, I think. But yeah, to be confirmed. But yeah, I'd love to. I just think it'd be great.
So Thursday night Shaka Khan then, is it? Right,
something like that. I'm every woman.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
To be fair, if I was on hospital ward trying to feel better, that music would really just help me along the way.
Well, yeah. So last week I was with Sarah doing some filming and I went to the chaplaincy and I met Martin and did some filming with Martin. It was lovely. And again, these videos will be released around about now, the time you're listening to this. So do keep checking our social media and website and finding these videos. But I went to the hospital radio studio for the first time.
Oh,
because it is a little bit secret and a little bit.
Oh, yeah, don't tell anyone.
Tell anyone where it is, won't it? But yeah, I went through a couple of doors and then saw the studio, lovely studio set up. And then Sarah said, "Oh, that's the store cupboard," and I was very intrigued by the store cupboard. And she opened the door, and the amount of vinyl records.
Oh, it's
unbelievable. It needs sorting out. So I'm going to volunteer myself to go and have a look through these 7-inch records because there's some,
floor to ceiling, and there's we know for a fact there's some probably really quite exciting stuff in there, but it's just it needs proper cataloguing and stuff. But floor to ceiling, full room, full of vinyl because obviously in the past. That's how we played our music. Yeah. Our hospital radio's been in existence, I think 60, 70 years. It's been an awful long time, and we've moved now, obviously we're using Spotify, we're using Myriad, we're using CDs. Different presenters, depends on the background, use different methods. So it's really exciting. But we've got loads of vinyl.
Speaking of different presenters.
Oh.
I know I'm not doing my impression.
No, please,
I know what you're going to mention here.
please don't.
Last year, we had a very special guest on Hospital Radio, didn't we?
We did. Oh my goodness me. So last year during it was the I can't remember, the Radio 2 in the park in Preston. Yeah. So we were approached by the producers of Radio 2 just randomly out of the blue, and they just said, is there a possibility we could get involved in hospital radio during that week? So of course we jumped at the chance. Yeah. Why wouldn't we? So we got back in touch with them and spoke to the producer at length. And they actually asked us whether or not we would be able to accommodate a VIP presenter who used to be a hospital radio presenter himself many years ago.
Yeah. That's your first clue.
And we said, absolutely, of course. So what we did was I knew who it was. We weren't allowed to tell anybody who it was. I was asked if I would ring Scott Mills at 6 o'clock in the morning on Radio 2. So I did. So I was outside on the car park at Preston at 6 in the morning. That was a killer for me. I'm not a morning person.
6 in the morning.
6 in the morning. Spoke to Scott Mills and asked him if he could help us. It started with Richie, Richie Anderson, who hosts he's like an outward reporter who's all over the country doing things, reporting back to the studio. They said, have we got a job that he could do? And I said, he could do a radio show for us. So then we met Richie Anderson. Yeah. He came and did a radio show and it went brilliantly. So then I had to speak to Scott Mills again and see if he could get a VIP presenter to come and do the afternoon slot. So we rung around Zoe Ball and all the different radio presenters that was in his phone book, and eventually we got the very wonderful Tony Blackburn. Ooh. And he came and did an hour at the hospital radio, and he was superb.
He'd never done it before, had he? He'd never done hospital radio before?
No, I think he started in hospital radio early in his career, but obviously he's been doing this a long time, so we're talking 60, 70 years ago.
I can still remember Tony Blackburn and I'm a Celebrity.
Yeah, no, so I thought he'd said, I'd love to. I've never done hospital radio.
Yeah, unless, do you know what, I don't know. No. But it was wonderful. And he came in, he didn't need any instruction, he knew how to use the equipment, because our equipment's quite traditional, it's quite old really now. He knew how to use it all, and he was just brilliant. But he didn't just do the show for an hour, he recorded sound bites that we can then use at other times. So, welcome to Preston Hospital Radio. He got loads of pictures with us all and the presenters who came in, so we got as many of our presenters in as possible. Yeah. And everyone just loved meeting him, and it was really iconic. And then they left us a lot of microphones, BBC Radio 2 microphones, which were replaced the ones we have. Wow. So that was really good. So yeah, it was, we got some national attention that day. It was amazing, yeah. Real buzz in the air and a real chance to, because the radio station, we had to shut it down during the pandemic. We couldn't broadcast live. We didn't have the kit to broadcast from home. So it kind of helped revitalise things and bit of a phoenix from the flames moment. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And we can replay the show as well. It wasn't time stamped, if you will, so it didn't make any references to stuff happening that week. So we can reuse that show again. So
that's brilliant.
It's wonderful.
So, thank you very much, BBC Radio 2.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
Cheers.
And I got my moment of fame, which I've always wanted as well. So winner.
Yeah. You want to come again? You know who to contact.
Excellent.
But I wonder whether it's just worth mentioning as well, just while I'm thinking about it, that not all our volunteers, are people.
No,
that's right. You're absolutely right.
Great connection there.
Yeah.
These are my favourite volunteers, by the way.
Yeah, we do have dog volunteers. We have 4 now. Olive will be joining us very soon.
Yeah.
I'm rubbish with names, but I've met all the dogs that we have. Absolutely amazing. So we have pets as therapy dogs, pat dogs, who can come in. We book them. They book through the volunteers office, and they can come and have a cuddle with our patients.
I would love that.
Imagine.
That'd be amazing.
Imagine, just wonderful. Yeah. So we have 4 dogs that come in. They're all vetted and insured and trained for this. It's not just any old, they go through quite a rigorous training. But yeah, it's wonderful, and we've had some really significant results with particularly young patients. So we had a patient, a young female, who was struggling with mental health and really struggling to open up, and the pat therapy dog helped her open up and struggled. She's cuddling the dog while she's speaking, and you can't put a price on things like that. No, just beautiful. And it's our intention to grow that, so we're going to get more pat dogs because they make such a difference.
Definitely.
And who knows what other pets we might end up with at the end of all of this, but it's fantastic. So they volunteer, and they also get a volunteer badge, they get an ID badge and everything. Oh yes, they're treated like like every member of the team, and they've got wonderful owners who obviously bring them in as well. So
we were lucky enough to have one of them come visit us at the office.
Gosh, that's a while ago, isn't it?
That was a while ago. That was whilst we were still at Chorley.
Yeah.
That was a very big distraction, but it was a welcome distraction for definite.
Yeah, because we do have, as well as pets as therapy, we also have volunteer dogs who don't look after patients, don't meet our patients, but are just for staff as well.
Yeah.
So staff dogs. So Iska, who came in, was one of those. So yeah, fabulous.
Oh, excellent. So that is kind of concluding this episode. Would you believe it?
I've got another hour in me yet to talk about this. It's so passionate about our volunteers, and it's really difficult because you can't discuss every role. No. But we've got volunteers who are just doing something simple like making a cup of tea for patients, which is wonderful for our staff. It makes a massive difference for the people. But even some of our volunteers just sitting and talking with someone who perhaps hasn't got any visitors, just helping paint the nails of somebody who, isn't able to do it themselves. So some of those things that enhance their experience but don't detract our staff from the caregiving. So it's that's the role really.
I remember a few years ago now, I had a relative in hospital, and a volunteer just came around and played chess. And it was just for that afternoon, just spent an hour, played a couple of games of chess.
Things like that. We also have, we have patients on our wards, obviously, with dementia, and ensuring that they're still looked after and stimulated when wards are busy and you've loads of things going on. So some of our volunteers sit, and we've got 10 iPads that can beam things onto the ceiling, that we've got fiddle toys, we've got colouring books, we've got all kinds of resources so our volunteers get onto our wards and support dementia patients or other patients who just need a bit of like a friendly accompaniment as well. So it helps keep people in their beds and safe, but not trapped there. Do you know what I mean? It's fabulous, and we're doing a lot more of that this year as well. If
I may, I have to share a little story from last year about my own experience as a volunteer. I wasn't a patient, I was a visitor. So my husband was in Royal Preston. I was quite unwell, and I'd gone to visit him one day, and I'd gone to the bathroom, and I'd left my bag in the bathroom, gone up to the ward, and then realised whilst I was there, I've not got my bag with me. So I rushed back down, because it was downstairs near reception, the bathroom, checked the bathroom, it wasn't there, so I'd gone into full panic mode, gone round to reception, where the information desk is, and asked outpatients, and one volunteer came up to me, "Are you looking for a bag?" I was like, yeah, come with me, it's been handed in. And that was, in that moment when I was panicking, it was just so nice. She helped calm me down.
Yeah.
She took me to my bag. She said, don't worry, it's all here. We've made sure it's all here for you. And it's such a small thing, but it had a huge impact.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, that's my little bit.
That is, but it's really lovely to hear that, and that's probably echoed right across the hospital, wonderful little snippets of things, where people, we had a patient coming in, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, and she was deaf and really struggled with navigating her way around, and we booked for a volunteer to be waiting at the Gordon Hesling entrance as soon as they arrived, just so somebody had a name. We gave them the name of the person, they had their ID badge, and they took them to where they were going. That made such a difference to that person. So all our volunteers, obviously, the main part of the role is to provide services to patients. So you'll see them up and down our hospitals in their yellow uniforms. We got them bright yellow because, one, we want them to stand out because they're amazing, but two, so they have their own identity. Because we've got lots of different coloured uniforms, so it gave them their own identity. So if anybody comes into our hospitals, you should be able to easily spot a volunteer with that recognisable bright yellow uniform. But we've got volunteers on our wards, we've got people, information guides like you've mentioned, baby cuddlers, pat dogs, but we also have people doing chaplaincy and going and sitting with people and help give communion. And so the chaplaincy team do a lot of work with volunteers. So we've even got someone who goes into the duck pond, wades the duck pond and helps clean that out. So again, there's no limit to the kinds of roles we've got, but they're all absolutely incredible, and that's the one thing which connects them all, I'd say.
Each one are like one in a million, aren't they?
Definitely. I'm very proud to be head of this volunteer service. It's amazing.
And that really shows.
Love it.
Would you like to take the time just to say thank you to volunteers?
I mean, if my arms were big enough, I'd wrap my arms around every single one of them, and I do. They will tell you this when I see them. Thank you absolutely for everything you do, volunteers. You're amazing, incredible people. Without you, our hospital would not be half as wonderful as it is. So thank you for everything. Yeah.
Couldn't say it better. Thank you very much to all the volunteers. It's been a joy meeting you the last couple of weeks, and I wish you all the best and thank you for everything you do for the hospital.
Yeah, and I echo both of you. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Keep shining.
Yeah, keep shining.
Keep shining.
Fabulous.
Okay, that is the volunteer episode of the Recruitment podcast. All that's left is for us to say goodbye and for me to direct you to other episodes which you can find on our YouTube channel. I'll post a link here now. If you go onto YouTube and search Lancashire Teaching Hospitals NHS Foundation Trust Recruitment, you should be able to find our recruitment profile, and there's episodes there that cover everything from armed forces through to healthcare assistance, through to job application, hints and tips, and there'll be more episodes coming in the future. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back soon.
Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Can't wait to do it again soon, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
I've loved it.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Right, okay. So thanks for listening and goodbye.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.